Should you date someone who does not want to marry you in the future? In today's podcast, Cece and I, we're going to go over some of the things that you can do if you find yourself in such a situation, either to patch things together or to help you move away as quickly as you can. So stay tuned.
Hey, Blissful friends, welcome back. Welcome back to another episode of the Blissology Podcast. I'm your girl, Cece, and I'm joined by my hubby here.
Hey, everybody, this is Will, and welcome back. It's always a pleasure to have you back with us on the podcast. If this is your first time with us, please remember to subscribe and hit on the notification bell so you can be notified when we put out new videos. This is a weekly podcast where we talk about...
On this podcast here, we talk about love, family, relationships, real estate. And sometimes we find ourselves talking about things that we shouldn't be talking about on here, right?
She says.
So you guys know, before we get into this topic, we like to go into, our blissful moment. So, babe, what's your blissful moment? This is the most important part to me in the podcast. I feel like, it's a blissful moment that needs to be very, very, something great happen, something grateful. What's your blissful moment, baby? And don't give me something, it's another week. I'm like, we know that already. But I think we want to hear something that happened. Because you used to give me like some great blissful moment a few months. Maybe last year.
Blissful moments. Let's see. Gratitude. I've learned to be grateful.
We know that already.
I don't know what you want to tell me. But I know what you want me to tell you.
Okay. What about gratitude?
I know. No, I say gratitude meaning that, sometimes there are things that are happening in our lives. You're like, geez, man, why does it have to be this way? But when you change your mindset, like for instance, this week started Monday, I could never leave my office on time. Something always happened. And after the third day, I'm like, really? Every day something has to happen. And then I realized, you know what? I should be grateful that I do have a job and I do have a place that I can come and help some people and make some money. So that's what I mean, gratitude. Because sometimes we can get caught up in the moments and we see everything that's going wrong and fail to see everything that's going right. Yes, 30 extra minutes. It's no big deal, right? So, I started getting worked up like 3 days in, and then I realized that, hey, it's what it is. We dealt with it. Hopefully next week is not the same way, but it probably will be.
Okay. Okay.
So that's what I mean by gratitude. It's look at the, I'm sure we all have gone through craziness in our lives. There's always something good going on in there. And if you can find a moment to be grateful for whatever's good, it'll overpower the bad or the inconvenience. Sometimes it's not so bad. It's just something that inconveniences you. And you find yourself, but some people, man, they just complain about everything. The sun shows up in the sky a minute later, they're complaining.
It's too hot. That's what sun does.
So that's what I mean when I said gratitude. I've learned I was reminded to be grateful.
Okay.
So is this satisfactory?
It's okay.
I have to think of a better one next week.
Yes. So you have a lesson to do. So mine is, the kids are on a spring break. Mm-hmm. Doesn't mean that I'm on a break. It only means that they get to kick me out of the office and put me in a corner. I'm grateful. It's a blissful moment to see me. Mm-hmm. It's like, see the girls in the office with like, Mom, I'm just gonna kind of kick you out of the office. I'm not saying it's a gratitude moment. I'm just saying, like, to me, it's a moment. It's a moment where we spend our time together. Yeah, last Friday was St. Patrick's Day. We did our green stuff together, and
I wasn't there.
Okay.
I wasn't there.
And, and the thing is, too, I had a really great week last week. That's something that I feel like, the seminar that I had last week was like, oh, my God, life transformation. Okay. So that's like, if you see me hyper, if you see my energy is high, please don't come at me. It's just it is what it is. All right. So I just feel like it's great to be in that atmosphere. It's great to be able to have that energy. So I had a great time. You know, I feel like it's a great blissful moment for me because
yeah.
And I know you had yours too.
A whole day and thing, but yeah, it was good.
Listen,
It was good. Found myself jumping around.
y'all, if you ever been to Tony Robbins event, like we are not advertising for Tony Robbins, but if you know who we're talking about, this guy is like a life transformation. Like he transformed you. And the last 5 days was all about finding who you are. And it was just like, you should have seen my husband, like, you know, pumping up.
She made me do it.
We spent the whole day Saturday from like 9 o'clock in the morning until 11 p.m., almost 12 o'clock at night. So mind you, it was like all over the world, like so many different countries. Like it could be 11 o'clock or 12 for me here in Florida, but in some states it could be like 3 in the morning or, you know, or in the afternoon. But it was just like the most epic moment like of all. And I want to do it again. I'm doing it again in July. So I truly feel like sometimes, you know, before we jump into the topic, I think it's good to invest in yourself. I think I mentioned this last week.
I think
but I truly feel like because it's something that we all need. Yes, we work. We need the money but you got to invest in yourself for you to be able to like get more energy, for you to be able to know that where you going, where you're going to be the next 5 or 10 years, which is so important. So listen, I'm passionate about this, and I think it was really like a great moment. And I could spend the whole night, the whole day talking about this. But we ain't gonna do this. So now let's get into this topic.
So should you date someone who you don't think, or you know for sure you're not going to marry in the future? So should you keep dating this person? If you ask me, I say no.
There's a country though but I don't think they get to date that person, because I remember when I used to work for corporate, there was this girl where she's from India, and they'll have this like,
it's an arranged marriage.
Like, is that part of it? Do you think that's similar?
That has nothing to do with dating. This is just your parents got together and they said, okay, I have a boy, you have a girl. We have we're wealthy, or we have some cows and stuff. We
land.
think our kids should get together. We'll trade, and then we bring the kids together, and they kind of look at each other. But that's something
that used to happen back in the days, right?
Yeah, but there's no dating then. You know,
more
your
like
parents
arrangement.
It's the parents put it together. It's different.
You have no say. You literally have to like, okay.
Yeah, what can you do? Your parents owned you.
Yeah.
You know, the Western world really spoiled us.
Sure.
But should you date someone that you know for sure you're not going to marry them?
I said, why waste the time? You know, I know relationship can be very tricky, and sometimes it puts you in a really awkward situation, right?
That's a relationship. It's supposed to put you in an
It's
awkward
like
situation.
you might have been dating this person since high school for quite some times, and everything is going pretty well, and you started to wonder, is this my future husband?
Well, listen, if you mention marriage to that partner and the partner kind of like, you know, make themselves clear and says, no, marriage is not in our future. But wait, how do you deal with this? Do you just part ways? You're like, hey, forget you, I'm done. Or how do you deal with a situation like this?
Or do you like keep fighting to see if they're eventually going to change their mind? I mean, if we're dating for quite some time and you're like, no, I'm going to ask you, the first thing is, what's the reason? Like, why?
Well, yes, I think finding the why is important. It's good to understand, you know, why that person is against the next step.
Yeah, idea of getting married. Yes.
You know, and sometimes it could be based on past experience. Maybe they had a bad breakup. Maybe they had a wedding that was called off. Their heart were broken.
Yeah.
So there could be reason. And sometimes it may just be that they didn't think about it. This is not something that they've given any thoughts to. So figuring out the exact reason I think is important.
Yeah. What's the reason? Why don't you want to be with me? Why?
Or maybe they just don't like you. They just want to have fun.
That's another reason too.
But finding the reason will help you determine what's the next step. Because, you know, one thing that could be bad, if the person says, hey, no, marriage is not in our future, and you say forget it and you're gone, and that could have been a simple misunderstanding of what it means to be married this person had in their mind. And if you could sit and kind of find out, okay, what's going on? If you find out this person, they were just afraid of women nagging in their ears once they get married, and then you're kind of clear that's not the type of person I am. This is, whatever the reason may be, find it, because at the end of it, that will help you determine where do we go next.
Yeah,
if that person is nuts, yes, then in that case you should move on. But if there's some ways to kind of rectify things, finding the reason will help you see, okay, if there's a problem that we can fix, let's fix it together.
Yes, and I would want to know. I know me personally, knowing my feelings, you know, I would want to know, what about my feelings, right? What about my feelings? Like for you to just like flat out tell me, you know, whether if it's a yes or no, but I would want to know that.
Yes, but your feelings, listen,
feelings
we all
are
have
important.
Feelings.
Except for you.
I do have feelings.
You don't have
just
feelings.
Just don't hurt. You got to think of yourself and what it is that you want from that relationship, right? And yes, feelings and emotions would get in the way.
Yes.
But you got to think of your needs and your partner's needs and be clear on that. But start with yourself, because you may want something out of that relationship that your partner has nothing to do with. But if they understand what your needs are and you're upfront with it, then maybe we can get somewhere, you know. And you got to think of, I want this person to marry me, but are they really the best person, or are we just getting frustrated? We just want to move on to the next step, because sometimes feelings can dictate where we want the next step to be when in reality we're not be really ready for it. Sometimes it could be the parents pressuring, yes, when's that going to happen? And you're like, okay, I got to put some pressure on this person to do so. But you got to think of, is it the right time? Is it the right person?
Right.
Will this person make a good husband or a good wife? You got to think of these things. So don't let your feelings push you towards that step when you're really not ready for it.
True. I feel you on that. See, I feel you on that. I truly feel you on that. I think that's important. And I know sometimes, you know, us ladies, we know we like to, what's in it for me? We like to rush things. Maybe you should give things time. Maybe you should like give it some time. Maybe it's too soon, right? There could be chances that you just rush into things. Yeah. Which happens a lot of time because some of us are either our clock is ticking.
Yeah. Or everybody around me is
getting married.
And I'm still.
And I'm dating you. So what are we doing here?
Listen, everything kind of happened at their own time. And sometimes rushing things can put you in a position to not have a successful relationship. So sometimes you may just mean give it some time. Learn, give yourself as much time and the other person as much time to know who you are and you to know who they are. Because I'd rather have you take the time to find out, is it going to be something that works for both of us, as opposed to, oh yeah, I think it'll be good. Or so-and-so says we are good together. I guess we are good together.
We're cute together.
Or we're cute together. Whatever it may be. But give it time, because time will allow you to really get a good understanding of what's important to us. Yeah. Because if marriage is important to you, but it's not important to me, unless I get to see the benefits in marriage, and sometimes it's time, because some people like to cohabit. You know, right? We live together. See, okay, what are your bad habits? Can I survive with you?
Can I handle them?
And some people that they may need that if they haven't lived with you yet, and you kind of heading towards marriage, it may not be the right time because they haven't seen you in that environment. Right. And well, I didn't get to see it. I took a chance.
Well, some culture you can't.
I took a chance.
Like our culture, you took a chance.
There's a lot of.
But we did it for 4 years though, so we kind of have an idea. A really long time.
I know she had issues.
We all had our own issues,
but
right?
it's issues that I could deal with.
There we go.
Yeah. and you know, one thing that's important, expectations.
Y'all be having some high expectations, you know, because I know I'm guilty on that.
Yes, you gotta look at the expectations. Your expectations, my expectations. Are we at a level
At the
that
same
will
level,
work?
right?
Because you could be up here, and I'm here, and if we're not matching,
Yeah,
it's not gonna work.
and I feel like it's the same way. Like, okay, here's the thing, which is kind of sad. I don't know if you remember Love at First Sight or
No,
Married.
I do
Actually,
not. I
no,
do
Married
not.
at First Sight. Well, you do remember. Let me tell you the story.
I know
real
of the
quick.
show. It's just I haven't watched it to
I
know
haven't
the details
watched it all.
about it.
Listen, I haven't watched Married at First Sight in a while. Okay, the last episode that I remember was this girl.
Mm-hmm.
She was 38,
Mm-hmm.
and she's a full-blown grown woman with her business, her house, everything. All she
money.
needs is just a man. Remember that one
I think you mentioned that in
where the
either
guy
in a
was
podcast
just
or
like,
a conversation we're having.
Yeah, I
because I've
mentioned it on the
heard that
podcast
story
too.
before.
Yeah, so I went on their Instagram last weekend, or I think it was Monday night, and I was like, "Oh no, they're no longer together."
Why were you surprised?
because of what we just talked about now,
But
the level of expectations.
If I recall right, when you first told me that story, I said these people had no business being together.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. I remember that.
So I wouldn't be surprised if they're not, because they were different
But
people.
they tried, you know.
But they were different.
Yeah.
Because I think she
I
was the
was
type.
such-
She's a spender. She has the money, and he was more like the conservative type. Because was he a fireman or something?
No, not him.
Okay, not him. But those people, are they together? The one that was the fireman? Or
No,
Okay.
I cried when she broke up with him. I was like, no.
So, but going back, if your expectations are different, you're gonna have issues. Because one would want this, and the other one will want that. If we can't find a place where we can both want this, we have problems.
Yeah, and I think there's no point. There's really absolutely no point of investing in your emotion in something that you know it's not gonna work.
Listen, if you can have fun for the moment. Right. We all can enjoy a little bit of fun in our lives. Safe fun, that is. But if you're going to have fun, enjoy the person's company, yes, do that. Because I'd rather you do that than go and be lonely. But don't count on it being, this is a long-term commitment.
Yeah.
No, because you
waste-
you're living in different planets.
Yeah.
Literally.
You got to be real with yourself. You got to be honest with yourself. You got to make sure that you know this is something that you really want. And I think sometimes you got to know, like, I'm not investing much time in this. And when I know it's not going to work, or why put in the effort when I know this is not going anywhere?
Well, you can put some effort, but not towards marriage. You can put effort in keeping that companionship for as long as you could.
But what's the point when I know you don't want to get married?
Well, if your intentions is to get married, then no. But if my intentions is I don't want to get married, but I want to keep that company, yes, I'll put some time to keep you around.
But then it's not going to work because what I want is not what you want.
I don't need it to work for marriage. I just
well,
want
I
it to
need
work
it to work for marriage, so it's not going to work for us.
Yeah. So, and whoever realized that your needs are not being met, then you need to either have that talk, which it's important to have that talk.
We just had that talk.
No, we didn't have that talk.
We just did, just now. When I want to get married, you don't want to get married. We just had that talk.
But it's important to have the talk. A talk
Yes.
where you can sit and really have a heart-to-heart with each other. Mm-hmm. No, not arguing.
Yeah, be honest.
But really have a heart-to-heart. Be honest. And not only say this is what I want, but this is why I want what I want.
Right.
This is why I think it may make sense.
Yeah.
And if that's not what you want, be honest.
Yeah.
This is why I think this is not what I want, and this is why I think it's not. And at the end of the day, you can be all adults if it makes sense to just,
Right. Part
respect
ways.
each other in the process. But if it makes sense to part ways. But you know that, what, we're good. This is the reason. Because sometimes people can break up in relationship and they think they did all they could. It's the other person's fault.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
if you sit down and you realize this is not for us, because if I have issues and I know those issues are not issues you can deal with, it's not fair to you for me not to tell you
Right.
what those are.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, even if I were to fake it, they're gonna come out,
Eventually.
and both of us gonna pay for it.
Yeah.
So have that talk, very open conversation. What's important, and lay it out there. And at the end of the day, if we're gonna try to make it work together, we're gonna make it work.
Right. And that's it.
Yeah. And if you're gonna part ways,
At least you both know that we agree on still remain friends, where we end up, in a positive note, right? Because sometimes where things happen where you end up hitting the other person because, all right, man, I invested all my time in you, and now this, you know what I mean? So I truly feel like having the talk, sit down and talk with your partner, with this person, and see, hey, this is not working. And be a great listeners. Sometimes men tend to be like in their own little world while we're talking. They're thinking about cars. They're thinking about computers. They're like in a different world. And you're like, hey, did you hear me? And you're like,
sometimes women talk too much.
And you're like, yeah, I heard you. And then you ask the question, what did I just say? Something about, my husband does it sometimes.
Get to the point.
And I'm like, what did I just say? Oh, something about, the moment that you hear something about, just know he wasn't listening.
Listen, I appreciate getting to the point right away.
I like detail.
And I'm good. But hey, some people are that way. But I'd say in whatever you do, just respect the other person's honesty. Don't be judgmental. Don't be judgmental. Respect.
It may be hard.
Honesty. If they're honest to you, respect it.
It may be hard to not be judgmental. I'm being honest.
Find it in your heart. If you're having that talk and this person is pouring their heart out on how they feel, either how they feel that you should be together or how they feel that you shouldn't be together, don't judge them. Listen to them. Yeah, that's how they are. And you have your own thing, and happily they may not judge you either. But respect that person's honesty, because sometimes it takes a lot of strength to come out and be honest. Now, hey, listen, if you're hardcore, you have no emotions, you just pour out your honesty, and the person likes it, they don't like it, they judge you, you don't care, then you move on. But some people, that will crush them, so be respectful.
That will crush me, absolutely. Right? That will definitely crush me. And I agree. I think honesty is really important.
Yeah, you have to.
Because I feel like, because you never know what the other person might want to do later on in life, right? They might change their mind. Hey, you know what? I know we talked about this a few months back, and now I'm ready to be committed. The fact that we both were very honest about what we really want. The person may be scared at the moment, right?
That could be.
But because now we had this great talk, we know what each other wants, so now we're able to come into conclusion of where do we go from here.
And many of us stay in relationships sometimes too long,
hoping for the best.
Yeah, it happens. And some people marry people up until they get old together, hoping things will change.
Damn.
Listen, you got to think of a few things. Will this ever change? Can I be happy? Mm-hmm. Will I be happy, or am I even happy where I am right now?
Right.
And can I deal with maybe the emotional trauma that may come if things go sideways? Mm-hmm. So when you think of these things, you have to really make an evaluation of where you are to see, okay, is it worth it?
Yeah.
And if it's worth it, by all means, you and your partner are going to work at it. But if you look at these things, you're like, man, I don't think I'm ever going to be happy.
Right.
Or I don't think this will ever change.
Yeah.
Or this is bound to turn into a disaster. Yeah, I guess you need to pack your stuff.
Right.
And move.
Yes, I agree.
Yes.
And I just want to add, don't make your partner do all the work while you know deep down inside this is not going to work, because that would be really, really bad, right? He's doing all that he needs to do, or she's doing all that she needs to do to keep this man, to keep him, and to get it work. But deep down inside, he just doesn't care. He's like, okay, I know you're doing all this, but I'm just not it for it. So yeah.
Be fair. it might be difficult to break up, but sometimes it's not worth it living in an illusion. If breaking up would be the solution to your problems, then find that strength and break up.
Yes.
And look for a partner who shares, similar goals, similar objectives, similar, life visions as you do.
Yes.
Because you'll find this will bring you happiness. It'll make you joyful. Yes, I mean, don't expect it to be a walk in the park every second in your relationship. There's always
fairy tale.
Don't expect it to be a fairy tale. You're bound to run into difficulties regardless of how good your relationship is.
Yeah.
But if you're with someone who shares similar views, similar goals, or at least understand your goals and be there to support, and you understand theirs, you're there to support them, you will have a much better relationship. But if you're with someone you don't see any future with this person, my honest opinion, it's not worth it. Continue dating this person.
It's not. Unless if you just want to have a good time.
Unless you want to have, after all, it's your life.
No, come on. We gotta back up what we just said. We gotta back it up. Unless if you want to have a good time. But if you don't want to just be a good time and you want to be a committed relationship, I truly feel like you should listen to all these tips that we just gave you.
Listen to them and practice as many of them as you can just to make sure that you are making the right decision for yourself. But I'm going to say this again. It is your life. You can shape it the way you want. You can be with whomever you want to. Just make sure it's what you want.
Make sure it's what you want. Okay.
Listen, I appreciate all of you guys listening to the podcast today. And again, should you date the person who you don't think you'll ever marry in the future? No, you shouldn't. But if you just want to have fun for the moment, please have fun.
Have fun.
And I hope this has been an enjoyable episode for you guys. Please remember to share, like, and subscribe, and click on the bell notification so you can be notified when we put out new videos. Again, please share this. We appreciate it. All of you guys have been supporting us since day one.
Yes.
Thank you.
And new viewers, thank you. New subscribers, thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you, YouTube, for this platform where since COVID, we've been able to share all this great topic with you guys, and more is coming. And the goal is to get this podcast, this platform, more content, and to boost it up and bring more greatness to you all.
So until then, we'll see ya. Peace.
Bye.